Well, a new national park is being proposed by Sanparks. Once declared, the Eastern Cape's mountains will be home to a high-altitude national park. The protected area of 30,000 hectares intends to help grassland conservation and water security. We're joined now by Dr. Luthando Dziba, acting CEO of Sanparks, to give us more insight to that. Thank you, Doc, for your time this evening. Talk to us about the differentiator for this new national park. Dr. Dziba, won't you just unmute for us so that we can hear you?
Sure.
There you go.
Yes,
don't worry, technology.
I know. Thank you very much for having me. I think, the key thing about this new national park is the fact that we are establishing a national park that is ecologically, economically, and socially sustainable, considering basically the fact that we are establishing it in a living landscape where basically farmers and local communities will continue to live on their land and continue to use the landscape for various uses, including agriculture and other land uses that are compatible with a national park. And we think that it is different from how we have established national parks in the past, where, for instance, we would remove people from an area, either by buying the land and then asking occupants to give up residence of that land. And sometimes, I think, back in our history, some communities were forcefully removed from national parks or from land that was established as national park.
Yeah, you're speaking about this, but there's also the issue around water. Now, you know that when it comes to the conversation of water in the South African context, it's a very touchy subject simply because not a lot of people have got access to it. Now, this national park, also has got that fresh, natural water that is running that can feed into community members. Now, can it also help with the protection of grasslands?
Indeed. In fact, this area was identified as part of areas that are underrepresented, the grassland biome being one of them. And so this national park will definitely be focusing on the conservation of the grassland biome. But I think the other factor is that it is occurring in what is known as the Drakensberg strategic water source areas. The water source areas are areas that we consider to be water factories for the country. They represent an area of about 10% of the land surface of South Africa, but produce about 50% of the water fresh water that we consume as a country. So by declaring a national park in such a strategic area, we hope that we can protect that land together with the residents of this beautiful landscape as an area that will continue to contribute to water security in the country.
Yeah, and I do understand also it's close to the Lesotho border. What does that mean? Does that mean, you have to be honest with me here, Doc, does that mean we get to see Big Five? A lot of them.
We're actually not, focusing on the Big Five in the declaration of this national park. But obviously, as time goes, we usually assess options for animals that are introduced, into our national parks. We have beautiful national parks that don't have Big Five, Table Mountain, the Garden Route. But when we declare some of those national parks, we focus on other uses, including opportunities for people to hike. Being close to Lesotho and very high up on the Drakensberg mountain range means that, there will be opportunities, for instance, for other tourism activities, possibly including, winter-related, opportunities that might actually open up something new for many people who visit this part of the Eastern Cape, including potentially skiing. I haven't been to this area during the winter, but I know that it's an area that gets a lot of snow, for instance.
And, Doc, just before we let you go, when can we expect this new opening? Timelines now.
Well, we are right now, at the founding phases of this. We have just established a project management unit that consists of about 5 or 6 staff who are going to be doing a lot of the groundwork in terms of, conservation planning, but also identifying priority properties So we are looking perhaps in about 2 to 3 years to the time when we will officially be able to perhaps open this national park. We have a lot of work to do between now and then, including acquiring some land and signing agreements with landowners and traditional authorities about land that could potentially be included in this national park.
Luthando Dziba, we'll leave it there for this evening. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, that is the acting CEO of Sanparks giving us an update on this new national park to be established.